prepare themselves for the next round. But I just hopped into the lobby. Guess what map I've seen that they've just chosen against PAG?
Is it Professor X?
Might well be Professor X, yes.
Ah, interesting.
I feel vindicated.
I think that's I think that's right. I think that's a good choice for them. I think they could very much. If they can't win on that, then I think we could be looking at a 3-0 clean sweep in the finals for PA Gods. But Professor X does feel like a map where they've got a really good chance to carry the day. Although they've shown that they really like vehicles, even on maps where I'd expect to see docks. I will expect to see PA Gods go docks heavy and Techno Trousers to go into vehicles very quickly. That's what I predict as the opening on that game.
Why do you think that PAG are going to be over docks on this?
I've seen Klops play on this map a million times. This Professor X is a map that's been played in a lot of tournaments before, and it always sees when Burnt Custard played that he went mass docks, when Klops played that he went mass docks. It's one that top players have always mass docks on, and I expect to see exactly the same sort of play going on here as well. I think they're going to go mass docks because you can just bunch up your docks so hard, and tanks end up running around the map trying to keep up with them, and they really don't. They don't keep up with them at all, and your docks armies just don't carry the day because they do so much economic damage. Certainly, you misposition your tank army even once.
Yeah, and you're gone.
Yeah, it's all over because suddenly the docks have run past you, and now you just can't keep up with them at all. And because the two bases are linked as well, they can run through the tunnel. They can destroy you. It gets really nasty really fast. But you can. It's not impossible to play against them. Not impossible. I've had some success when I played against Klops and Violet when they were playing together. They were mass docks. Myself and some. Another player I haven't played with before. We had some good success with vehicles. We locked them down quite well hard on, and then we did one of those things where we mispositioned the tanks.
And then it went round you.
Exactly, and we never really were competing for that side area of mechs that are so important.
Essentially, you're using your tanks just to try and block the docks from getting into the tender bits of your base, really. So that's what it comes down to. It's a case of if you have the right stuff in the right place at the right time, you're always going to come out on top. But if you don't, then you're going to get sidesteps.
No, absolutely. Generally, the two players, I would expect to see them bring their docks forces together and apply them in one place rather than splitting their attention between the two opponents. You focus on one base and you just take it down, and the opponents never have enough units to really come back at you, especially if they let themselves be divided. You've got to group up in the centre and stop your opponent. If you can get in the centre and stop your opponents grouping up, then you can really... Then the game's already over. But again, if PA Gods are allowed to claim that resource area on the map without Techno Trousers fighting them for it, then again they're not going to be able to. Then Techno Trousers aren't going to have a chance. I'd like to see Techno Trousers make a good early fight for that resource space. I do see the... Well, you can't see it on the screen, but the players are already a little smack talk going down there. Elidare apologising to Techno Trousers for having to crush their dreams. Oh dear. So, we're just, just letting the players have a little refresher, a little rest before we go into a best of 5. So it's PA Gods and Techno Trousers here in the finals of Binary Stars. Certainly PA Gods... No big surprise, I think, to see them in the finals. Seeded number 1, highest win ratio in tournaments of any of the teams that were competing here today. Techno Trousers, on the other hand, for me, definitely surprised to see them here. Did not expect them to win their first game, then to get knocked out in the quarterfinals against Army 1. So my prediction has Army 1 in the finals against PA Gods. How are the games shaping up against your predictions, TheWrongCat?
I would have to go look at my predictions at some point, but I definitely expected PAG to be in the final. I was also hoping that Army 1, I think, was probably my favourites to be up here with them, but I may be slightly biased. I did actually have Techno Trousers down as quite a strong contender, as I know both Mothra and CDRKF's playstyles relatively well. I certainly would expect them to get to at least the semi-finals.
Well, good news, because right now I am winning the predictions game according to the challenge chart. You are lagging behind in 4th place, sir.
Oh.
I am owning it in 1st place. B Sport running just behind me.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
I'm really happy. I'm really happy for you. Would you like it? Would you like a cookie?
I would actually. A cookie would really hit the spot right now. White chocolate. White chocolate, please.
All right, I'll get one mailed over to you.
Well, this is nice because normally when I predict outcomes of games, I have had a terrible track record in tournaments of predicting outcomes of games. So that could be good for Techno Trousers right now, as I put down a prediction of a PA Gods victory.
Did you? Interesting.
Before we get into this, any predictions on what the final score is going to be in these finals?
You know, I know how this is going to go. It's going to be 3-2. We're going to be playing all 5 games, and I'm going to be up until 2 o'clock in the morning casting it. That's my prediction.
I'm going to predict a 3-0 sweep for PA Gods. That's my prediction. I don't think Techno Trousers quite have it. I think PA Gods are just at a level above them. On the other hand, Techno Trousers have been
those words.
Well, they have been. I must admit, they have been defying my expectations. I didn't expect them to make it this far. When I saw them playing against Ponage, I thought that Ponage was going to beat them, and Techno Trousers played well above.
Exceptionally.
They played really well. But I just think that PA Gods have such a great understanding of the game. They have such a great understanding of the game that they're just going to outmaneuver. They've got such great APM as well. They're going to just be everywhere on this map. Techno Trousers aren't going to be able to pull off those kind of raids that they did against Ponage. The PA Gods won't fall for that. They will be the ones putting the pressure on Techno Trousers.
But we've seen Techno Trousers recover from pressure before. So,
now, as we launch into the first game of the finals of Binary Stars, and both of these teams are competing now for a $200 prize. There is no second place prize because we are brutal men.
That's not brutal, that's fun.
Exactly. Match to the death, fight for our amusement.
Exactly. But I have to say, I did have you down as a sadist, Quitch.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing more than
the fact that you've done best of 3s and best of 5s, making this probably go on for about 6 hours, makes you something of a sadist.
Hey, if I'm enjoying something, I like to enjoy it for a long time. So once again, we're back on Professor X, which you haven't seen since round 1. So for those of you who weren't with us, then let us have a quick recap of the map. We have an X formation setup, although there's no guarantee that teammates will spawn next to each other. It can spawn across the way from one another. See where they go. There's also a resource area on the back here, which is going to prove to be rather key.
And we have indeed got cross hatches.
Oh no, they are. Yeah, so they are next to each other. So those teammates are going to try and add up, meet in the centre, and deny the other team from connecting. And we'll see how that goes. But you've got to take this resource space on the back of the planet. If whoever takes that, and if they take it and hold it, they're generally going to win the game. There's way too much metal there on this map to ignore it. Or was it 20 of the 108 metal are there?
It was 20. We came to this conclusion earlier after some rather hasty maths.
And we see again Techno Trousers, same opening as before. Vehicles from one player, bots from the other player. Meanwhile, PA Gods, vehicles. Very unusual. Very unusual. Maybe that tiny speed change in docks, because I think that since Clupsy 9, the last time we saw Profex was, the dock speed has been reduced from 20 to 18. Maybe it's made all the difference. Certainly, I haven't seen these players do a vehicle rush on here before, though. It's always been docks, so this is quite exciting to see.
Very early scout there coming up from Techno Trousers. They're going to come up there thinking, oh, let's go and find all of these bot factories that they're probably building. They're going to come up here, and then they're going to panic because they're going to have no idea what PA God's thinking. I certainly don't. A Clops without docks is not a person I'm familiar with.
Right, clearly never played him on Forge. But we see that Techno Trousers going for a heavy mine presence early on. And certainly a weakness we've seen in some teams is their inability to actually throw a skitter in their army to prevent this. As long as that combat fabric isn't scouted, that could be a nice little pickup.
Indeed. But I'd like to think that PA Gods have enough technical knowledge of the game that as soon as they realise there are mines there, they would just throw a skitter at it.
Well, unfortunately, Techno Trousers have... PA Gods have already landed a Faber in the resource zone. Techno Trousers not showing any indication that they're headed over that way, and that's a big mistake by Techno Trousers this early on. They can't allow PA Gods to take all those resources for free. They have to challenge that for that area.
We saw the last game we watched on this map, that was left uncontested, and it didn't end well for the players who forgot to contest it.
No, it's really east, and we see. I think a Pelican's going to go to the other end of this area as well. They're scouting with fighters now. Going to shoot down that fighter, and then the Pelican's going to move in, and they're going to lock down both ends. Normally,
well, it takes a while to lock it down. They still have a window here to get in and get it moved, to get it dealt with.
I'm looking at Techno Trousers, and I don't see any indication that they're doing anything to go take that area. There's no Pelicans, there's no air fabbers. Nothing from them that indicates that they're going to try and make a play for that, and that's a huge mistake by them. Huge mistake. They've got a slight eco lead now, but that eco lead is going to disappear really quickly.
Looks like we've got, yeah.
Just waiting for the server to catch up there, and there it is. But already, oh, the Pelican in actual fact not landing in there. Let's go have a look at what that Pelican is doing. Are they going to be taking the no man's land, or have they just... Oh, it's a tank. Oh, okay. It's not a fabber, it's a tank. They're actually looking to see if there's anything to go blow up.
Which, actually, there is a nice little string of mechs here, thank you very much. Undefended, unprotected. Drop that tank there. Oh, they've seen it. Panic pings.
Yeah, they found two fabbers. The fabbers should be moving back towards that spinner at this point.
Oh, no, those fabricators are going to get caught by the tank. Yeah, he's not... What's he... What is he doing?
Yeah, I think so. They're having fun with this, aren't they? It's Pelican drops. They're going to have some fun with Pelican drops.
What's he doing with it now?
He's going to drop it with the other fabbers. Yep,
oh no!
The StarCraft
so
2ing
awful.
it. We're going to see drops all over the place. They're going to be doing drops and then pickups and drops and pickups.
That is so awful. That's really going to hurt as well. That's really undefended, exposed part of their base.
I'm really surprised to see the tank go down there, though. I would have expected to go pick up those two fabbers. Easy kills there, no defences. And instead, he's going to pick up a couple of resource extractors. But already, Techno Trousers is looking in real trouble. That the PA gods aren't managing to spend their income yet, but they're expanding in the resource zone. They've got more troops out on the field, and now they are raiding on the back, and they got the air lead.
Techno Trousers also floating heavily. A third of their income.
I think that's going to be down to fabber losses. They lose fabbers, they're not going to be able to spend as effectively. Indeed, a Pelican coming out as well from Techno Trousers. What's in there? Inferno in there. And where's that headed off to? I think they might be able to try and do a drop in the resource zone, which unfortunately their path is going to cross with these hummingbirds. They're going to drop him in time.
He's done it. He's dropped it.
He's down, but he's at the...
Doesn't know what he's doing with it though.
Yeah, completely wrong place though. He's not near any of the metal spots, and he's not moving. There's been a lot of instances of teams queuing up teleporters, drops, and then not following through. And really, when you do a drop or a teleporter, time is of the essence. You have to get in there ASAP.
I'm not favouring Techno Trousers odds here.
Well, the mine place is very defensive, but really, how key is this is a very easy position to lock down to some walls. They really need to place all those mines there. They've got to be making a contest for the centre, because if they're not going to contest the resources in this area, they have to move to the centre and contest there instead. And they're not. They're allowing PA gods.
They're not
to
contesting anything.
And take that area.
I feel like they could be slightly intimidated by the fact they are, PA gods have a certain reputation. It feels like they're playing overly cautious, whereas they weren't playing in that way in the previous games we've seen them in.
Yeah, they are allowing PA gods to sort of dictate the play, and I think perhaps because they've seen these drops, they're a bit worried about what might be about to happen, and they really need to go out there and bring the game back to PA gods in the way that we've seen them do on other maps. But right now, they're allowing PA gods to move into the middle and join their forces, while they're sitting back in their bases with two completely separate armies.
That lone Inferno slowly being bombed. He's not even going to be able to reach those metal extractors before the bombs get the better of him.
Rest in peace, little Inferno. You were poorly dropped, unfortunately. Miles away from where you needed to go.
Now the raids are starting to come out from PA gods, who have so far not had a single raid even come anywhere near their base. They're not feeling the pressure at all here. They probably feel quite relaxed, quite happy just to sort of kick back, do their thing. They're able to claim this diamond of metal in the middle, which they really shouldn't be able to do.
No, absolutely. No pressure being put on them at all right now. Techno Trousers finally making a push up one of their bases, but that's going to be surrounded and destroyed. You've got PA Gods forces coming in from every direction.
But now they're about to hit those mines.
Oh, PA Gods are about to hit the minefield. So finally, Techno Trousers' little minefield there paying off, taking out a rather big chunk of PA Gods forces, just kept ploughing into those mines. Yeah, they're not turning around.
I wonder if
equally,
PA Gods have
equally in
spotted
terms
that.
of forces, just but they're lagging behind in terms of resources, and I just don't see them competing. They're really not making the play for these resources, and I think that's just inexperience on this map. Once you play this map enough, you'll really quickly realise how important this area is.
I think they're going to try and avoid that. Rather than send skitters over there to destroy it, it looks like they're just going around instead of over that thing.
Yeah, there's really no need for them to go in that direction at all. It's very easy to block forces that try and come that way. You can just wall it off. And we see in actual fact, yeah, Technotrousers do what I've done here before, placing the walls along the edge there. They're trying to act a defensive line, but they've got to contest this centre, or they've got to go and contest the other resource
They have
space.
to do something. They've got to be more proactive. They're being too...
Yeah, they're playing to
defensive.
lose right now.
I was just trying to see what options they've got available to them. Just looking through, I'm not seeing anything beyond lines and lines of factories, but they can build as many lines of factories as they want. If they've not got the eco to support it, then they're going to start playing a losing game here as PA Gods just overwhelms them with superior numbers.
Absolutely. Can you see PA Gods now bringing out tanks from every direction? They're locking down defences in the centre. Yeah, they're not rushing this, slow and steady, but massive number of fabbers over Technotrousers. Technotrousers got a slight lead in units, but they're not using them to do anything. You don't see where they're going to be getting any gains. PA Gods, they move their force out, they claim an area, they lock it down, then they move out again. And Technotrousers don't seem to have a plan here.
I sense panic. I can't think that they've got a solid concrete plan. And now PA God's now walling off the other end. They're clearly not planning to send any forces through that little mined off area at all. They've just stuck a wall in there as a roadblock to stop Technotrousers from using it. Both teams just sort of said, right, let's just not use this today. Let's just go around this thing.
Well, Technotrousers have finally put down the teleporter, or are in the process of putting down a teleporter over in the resource space. PAG trying to reclaim because they failed to... There we go, finally Technotrousers making a move here. Good air presence there from Technotrousers.
But it's a very, 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 very late.
Yeah,
Although that said, PAG have not secured the area properly at all, so...
Well,
it's been late.
Surprisingly, yes, PAG are looking a little weak at the air game. Technotrousers has actually taken the air back. But this commander now for Technotrousers is looking at a lot of trouble as PAG close in with their Bolo force. Going to withdraw. Technotrousers reinforcements moving up to secure the area. But still, he's starting to get a little low. And they've now been driven off one of their own natural expansions.
While you're bringing that terminology back in here again.
I am. We're bringing back the StarCraft 2 natural expansion terminology. It has its place. This metal here, this is Technotrousers. They should own that metal. There's no reason. If they don't own it, then that's a sign that they're in trouble, because it means they've been pushed back into their own territory. It's one of the first points they're going to expand to. They should definitely own it. They are, however, taking the this side metal here, on the back of the planet, taking that, making it not moving it with the docks, which is a shame, because that's a much better force to go and take out that metal. But they need to take it out. But even now, PA God's got such a massive lead from owning the centre that they really don't need that space. And Technotrousers haven't moved a Fabber through, so they're destroying the PAG mechs over there, but they're not moving to claim them for themselves, and they need to take them now because they're miles behind in eco, and they're starting to fall behind in army as well. They've got to hurry up and get Fabber out there, and finally one arrives.
Unfortunately, when you're behind in your eco, the army count soon starts to follow, just as a natural consequence. There's been pushed back now on several fronts. Large armies coming through from PAG. These are not small raiding forces. These are potentially lethal forces coming through now.
Yeah,
things
get
dangerous.
Now got troops everywhere. The commanders for Technotrousers is very exposed because they've got to be on the front lines. It's the only way they can fight this. PA Gods putting up some, I think, rather unnecessary walls to defend the centre, but. And actually, fact, those walls are a bit too far back considering where the turrets are as well. So we're placing them close to the metal extractors, but at this point, I don't think it matters a great deal. They're really
I can't see how Technotrousers are going to be able to mount a reasonable offence again.
Yeah, absolutely. Technotrousers way too passive in this game, and when they find I mean, they've done really well in keeping up in terms of troops, and they've managed to win the air game, but they just put no pressure on PA Gods. PA Gods have been free to take the centre, they've been free to go to tier 2, they were free to take the resources at the back of the planet, and Techno Trousers just haven't challenged them in any of these areas. I think, like you said, they've just been sort of starstruck, intimidated by the reputation that PA Gods have. And really, that PA Gods haven't been that far ahead for a lot of this game, and there was a good opportunity for Techno Trousers to challenge them.
But now we just see forces sort of trying to avoid the front lines and go for the throat a little bit. Not actually getting them there that far, but it's just going to be numbers at this point. They're just going to start steamrolling very, very shortly.
Yeah, they're running around the sides. They're taking out their production, and Techno Trousers no longer have the numbers of troops. And indeed, ill-advisedly moving their forces out of their base from behind the walls to engage PA Gods, which isn't the confrontation that's going to go well for them. They've got to be on the defensive at this point. They've got to make the resource in the back of the planet. They've got to take over that area ASAP to get more fabbers out there, take those metal points, and just try and hang on until they can convert that into something, because it's really the only way they're going to do anything now. The PA Gods is laying down walls, laying down turrets. They're making sure that Techno Trousers are never breaking out of this.
Gonna be a real tough one. There's still a chance that they can pull back, but it's getting slimmer and slimmer by the second.
Well, the biggest chance I think that Techno Trousers would have would be
that commander is in a lot of trouble if that army decides to double down. Oh, he's going out behind the walls.
Oh, that commander is dead.
That was a really silly play. He should have stayed behind those walls. He's just come out to try and chase them down. Although he knows if he leaves them, they're going to go for the base. I think they've already declared GG in their heads. That commander's so screwed.
And unfortunately, he takes out much of his own armies. He does PA Gods as well. And at this point, Techno Trousers' only opportunity here was to really try and sneak something around the back of these bases. PA Gods very vulnerable at the back. A little teleport around there, push the troops through, maybe try and even up the resources with a few raids or something. That was the only opportunity they had. But now, yeah, the production for Techno Trousers is going down. This game is over. Techno Trousers got one base left, but it's under siege, and it's not long for this world.
Is that a T2 factory I see going up?
It is. It is. That's the only way they're going to even up the eco. They've lost so much of the map. They have to tier 2 the eco.
Desperation measures. The eco's fine. They're floating at the moment. They need more production.
Yeah, but they're going to fall if they don't tier 2 up the eco at this point. Then they're going to be lagging behind. I wouldn't have built it that far forward though. Building on the front lines. That's
going to die now.
Yeah. But with PA Gods deep in one of their bases now, they're going to swing around from behind the base, and that's going to be it for Techno Trousers. There's really no holding PA Gods at this point.
If they've not declared GG at this point, I'm surprised.
Yeah, there's no snipes. They don't even know where the PA God commanders are. They haven't scouted them. I don't think they've even been. They've barely been in the PA Gods bases apart from flyovers. They really haven't been attacking there, barely destroying anything. You see almost no damage in the PA Gods bases. But endless amounts of destruction around Techno Trousers.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think beyond a couple of skitters we've actually seen any orange forces in PA God's base. There's early raids with some skitters and maybe a dock or two here or there. That's been it.
Yeah, but unfortunately very passive play by them. I think hopefully in the next game, because I think this is very much headed towards a GG for Techno Trousers at this point. But hopefully in the next game we'll see Techno Trousers take the fight to PA Gods a bit more than we did here.
You can't let them play. You cannot let your opponent sit idle and have the luxury of having time to sit and think of a strategy. You need to try and remove any time that they have available to them to think of stuff. Reacting rather than acting.
Well, absolutely, and with the air advantages that Techno Trousers have had this whole time, well, for a substantial part of this game, they really should have been doing more with that. And PA Gods now just been pumping out the hummingbirds to shut this down because they realise they need to. That's the only way that anything was going to come out of it, and that air force is now gone.
Gone.
Techno Trousers have finally taken over this resource at the back of the planet, but they've taken way too long to do it. It's way too late. They've never.
That commander's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he's been run down
He's
into the
gonna
corner.
Get
he's gonna be shot like the rabid dog that he is.
Wow.
I know, it's touching, isn't it? Almost poetic, I might say.
Almost.
Yeah, PA God's flooding in from every direction. But there's nothing for Techno Trousers here. I'm surprised we haven't seen them declare the GG.
Yeah. I would expect that commander to just pop at any moment. They're now just PA Gods just willingly ploughing units through the minefield because why not?
Yeah, absolutely. They've got the units. I think they've just rallied them over there where they're just issuing mass move commands now.
They don't even care. They're just sending units through there until the mines aren't there anymore.
They've got the numbers. They've got the numbers. That commander he's running back, but there's another force.
He's running back
side.
into another army.
He's not going anywhere. This is all over for this commander.
He's not going anywhere alive anyway.
Yeah, it's the last stand. The last stand of this
Last
commander.
hurrah. Unless he runs forward into the minefield.
Yeah, we're seeing this commander.
Which actually, I feel like he might be
Well,
good.
he can teleport out if they're feeling really cheeky. That's his one
Those
opportunity.
mines though.
I think we're seeing now.
No, it's just being. Look at that! Just streams of units just
Vanguard coming in.
trying to corner him off.
And yeah, that's running out now. They've plowed through the minefield as well. Units coming over
And
there.
this is it. This is
commander
where
is
it ends.
absolutely doomed. GG. There's the GGs. So first game of the best of 5 goes to PA Gods. And congratulations to them. They played.
GG.
Yeah, they played a very solid game there.
That was a very disappointing game, I think. I really expected far better play there based on what we've seen so far in this tournament.
I think so as well,
I
yeah.
thought that they had a good chance of at least giving PAG a run for their money on that map. I thought that they had some very, very good play earlier on in this tournament.
I expected to see more out of Technotrans, but later I
See
think
it in this particular
just
game.
intimidated by PA Gods. And
It's a crying shame.
they let themselves get into such a defensive posture, right from putting mines down right at the start in a very defensive move. And really, that combat fabric should have been dropped into
Yeah,
the
what it comes
resource
down
area.
to at the end of the day is that they just weren't quick enough in reacting to.
Yeah, it was all very defensive play from Technotrousers, wasn't it? And at the end of the day, you see this combat fabric placing down mines right at the beginning, and that's really insight into the mindset they had when they should have pelicaned him over to the resource area at the back of the planet and started getting a teleport up and claiming those resources, instead of placing minefields that didn't really have a lot of effect on how this game turned out.
There are two major points on this map where you need control. Two major points for contention. That is that's one at the back and the one in the middle.
Yeah, and unfortunately they didn't play for either of them, did they really? The PA Gods just took the resources at the back, and then they drove all the tanks in the middle, and Technotrousers, really, I mean, even now, looking at 7 minutes, 30 seconds in, and Technotrousers have made no pushes out of their base. Absolutely none. They've just sat in their bases that whole time.
They didn't really lose of anything apart from inaction. They were just sat there waiting to be killed by PA Gods.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel like it was a psychological thing. I feel like they probably did get a bit intimidated.
Yeah, they completely let PA Gods dictate the total flow of this game. They did nothing but react to PA Gods. They didn't even react very well. They really didn't challenge them for the resources that they needed to, and they didn't coordinate very well either. The two Technotrousers players played very separate individuals. They never joined up their forces. It never felt like they were a single team. They were two separate people fighting two separate battles.
And and for all of the arguments I made earlier about the other two having the teamwork skills, which PA Gods are lacking, you know what? On that particular game, PA Gods definitely had the stronger teamwork skills.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They came into this. This is a map I'm sure they've seen a lot of. I suspect they've played this one a lot. They know what they're doing here. And they knew they'd take the resources on the back of the planet first, then they rolled in and take the centre, and once they got the resources fired, it is pretty much just it was GG's at that point. Technotrousers never really looked like they were going to pull it back. We never saw any clever players come out of them. They never really did any drops. They just they took the air, but they never really did anything with the air either, even though they had the air advantage. Just eventually just sort of sat there and waited to die. Bit of a shame there, but hopefully they get to pick the Technotrousers get to pick the map for game 2 as well, as they were the losers of this game. So it'll be interesting to see what they come out with, and whether or not they're able to come up with something that changes the balance. Perhaps they can find a map better suited to their play, something that's going to really put PA Gods on the back foot.